Oh, hey guys. Welcome back to Goober Garage. On today's episode, we're going to be doing another day on the UTV. We're almost done, don't worry. But where'd you guys go? Okay, alright. Okay, let's do the episode. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are back, and I made a list. This is what still needs to be done. First thing I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to tighten all of the suspension that isn't the A-arms. So I'm going to tighten the lowers, I'm going to tighten the shock mounts. I'm going to leave this bottom bolt loose so I can swing it out when I do the adjustment in the top. The second thing I need to do is adjust those jam nuts and the length of the upper A-arm to bring this wheel back into its proper alignment. Same thing over here. I'm going to go through and do a bolt check on the whole vehicle. All the suspension stuff that just went in. Any bolt that got touched is going to get torqued. I need to go through and make sure everything gets plugged back in that was unplugged for the install. I need to bleed the brakes, which is a higher priority than the body panels. Once the suspension is done, everything's plugged back in, the brakes are bled, and most of the body panels are back on. I also need to move that airbox. Not a huge deal for the test drive. I'm not planning on ripping the thing through the swamp, so it should be good. In this video, you will see this thing drive, and I'm gonna make it happen. So, you know the deal. Back onto time lapse. Let's go. So. All the front end is done. We need a couple of pieces. We need to replace the fastener that I destroyed getting it out of the rotor. I have a bleeder that snapped off the front caliper, and I have a Zerk fitting that showed up from Super ATV that has no threads on it, and a second one that broke, and I need a new grease gun. I'm going to run to the store. When I get back from the store, bleeding the brakes. Once the brakes are bled, this thing's ready to roll back and forth and go for a test ride. I also need to change the tires because it will not fit out of the door on the tires that it's on because it's just too big. I go to the store now. When I come back, we're going to make this thing move under its own power. Yee yee! I'm back, and we are mission go, all parts secured. Got a new grease gun. Got grease. Got the bolts I needed. Got the bleeder screw I needed. Got another can of PB blaster because you can never have too much PB blaster. More bolts that I needed. These are for the rotors. And the last piece of the puzzle was the Zerk fittings because the ones from Super ATV suck. Now that I have returned, I throw the Zerk fittings in. I throw the brake bleeder screw in. Throw the bolt into the rotor. Bleed the brakes, and this thing's ready to move under its own power. Once again, back onto time-lapse you guys go, and the next time I'm talking to you, that thing is going to be ready to move under its own power. Well, would you look at that? Hot dog, hot dang, she's done. For those of you who are paying attention, we ran into a couple of roadblocks. The broken bleeder screw for this passenger side front, the easy out snapped off inside of it. I'm just going to buy a new caliber, so I'll order that. This will still work in the meantime. Because it's got that, it's plugged, it won't leak brake fluid. The second thing I'd like to mention is, if you noticed, I went around with brake clean and a towel and made sure I wiped all of the brake fluid off after I was done bleeding the brakes. That is very important. The reason that's important is because brake fluid is caustic. It will eat through paint. If you get brake fluid on stuff and you just leave it, it will destroy the paint of whatever it gets on. A lot of people will tell you you have to have two people to bleed brakes. Clearly, that's not the case. The way I accomplished this was a two-phase setup. The first thing I have that makes life so much easier is this little hand pump that you put the valve right on the bleeder screw, pump it to pressurize it, and then when you open the valve, it sucks through and sucks the air and the fluid out, and you do that until there's brake fluid coming out. The second way I accomplish this is just some good old-fashioned redneck ingenuity. When you pump your brake pedal, it increases the pressure in the system. Normally when you bleed brakes, you pump it and then you hold. Now obviously, I can't pump, hold, and open valves at the same time to release air. I can, however, pump, hold, and hold in place with a stick. Everything is now ready. It is on the ground. It has brakes. It's time to toss a battery tender on it and see how it does, see if it fires up, and see if we can get it to move under its own power for the first time since tearing it apart, like 2 months ago. Also, I need to be careful because it's too tall to fit under the garage door hangers, so I can only pull it forward, stop, and go back, and then I need to drop it onto the old tires to get it out of the shop. But I'm pretty happy with how this thing turned out. Let's see if it runs. Get the small wheels on it and take it outside. Small tires are on, garage door has been unhooked, pulled back, zip tied in place, and I let a bunch of the air out of the tires on that. That roof is half an inch shorter than that opening. Let's see if it fits. There was zero margin for error there. Let's see if my snapper works again. Oh, that's way better. It is wild what wheels and tires do for a build. Alright, I'm going to push my luck. Let's see what we can't do at the front end. Hot dog. Yo, I'm going to be real with you. I could tell you right now, there is a 100% chance that if I had superpowers, I would not be a good guy. But damn, would you look at the old girl. Not Your Grandpa's Golf Cart can get it. Now, obviously, we need to do a shakedown run. But first, my nieces and sister are coming over, and they ask me to ride in this thing every single time they come over. It's been down for a couple of months. They're going to be stupid excited that this thing is fixed. So I'm going to hide cameras and get their reaction to seeing this thing actually running again.
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, go ahead, climb on it.
Do we have a ride on this or no?
Oh yeah, it runs. I fixed it. We get to do buggy rides again.
When I first put my leg up, I couldn't get up when I put my leg up.
You guys think we're high enough, or you think we should make it bigger?
High enough.